Hello, this is Ken Ferry with this week's Boots in the Field report. Had a great week last week with our college events here. Had pretty much the whole United States represented in Canada throughout the two different events. Want a special thanks to everybody who came. The weather was perfect, a lot was learned, and hopefully you had a lot of good take home from it. Out in the field this week, my top concern is corn aphids. Up until now, we've been seeing them mainly on susceptible hybrids, and we've been spraying for them in susceptible hybrids, but they're moving more full scale. Seeing a lot of adult aphids, the winged aphids out in these fields, they're moving. So they're moving from some of these heavier infested fields to more the general population. It is still somewhat by hybrid, but don't take it for granted. Check every field as this population builds this time of year. Fields I've been in this week range from 0 to 100% of the plants infected. We don't want this thing to get away from us. I was in one field that had a fungicide application about 2 weeks ago with no insecticide with it, and those aphids blew up. So out of 34,000 plants, we had 8,000 plants that were waxed up enough they aborted the ear. And that's going to hurt no matter what. So again, if we're spraying a fungicide, we're going to throw an insecticide with it to kind of clean up on these aphids. And guys are waiting maybe for brown silk to spray their fungicide, but if the aphids are there, move that fungicide application up. Take care of your fungicide and your aphids in one shot. Now, especially north of Bloomington, we're seeing more and more northern rootworm beetle. It's a good time to clean that one up too while you're out there to try to slow down that population growth. On the disease front, it's still pretty light, but I am finding some limited tar spot. But the bigger disease in the corn right now that we're dealing with is the gray leaf, the GLS, and that's kind of making its move. We have the physoderm, but there's not much we can do with the physoderm from those wet conditions. But in general, right now in central Illinois, this disease pressure is probably as light as we've seen it. As you travel the roads, many fields now are showing N deficiency. Now, this is due to a wet June where we had nitrogen loss. That's getting pretty close to being too late to manage this N deficiency, but now sure is the time to reevaluate your N program. One field is showing N deficiency, and the next one is staying green and charging on. Most of those dark green fields have a good 4R program for their nitrogen management to help them weatherproof against a June like we had. If you're running out of N, we need to revisit your N program, especially this time of year. We got 45 days, maybe 50 to go in a lot of these fields, and we're showing N deficiency at the top. That's going to get brutal on yield. It's going to take the top end of that yield. So now again, the pest teams are out there. Hopefully they'd have caught this 3 weeks ago and we'd have fixed it. But if you don't have a pest team, but you can see it's yellow from the road, it's time to reevaluate the whole program that you've got set up. Saturday and Sunday's smoke, along with Monday's high day and nighttime temperatures, has caused some hybrids to blow the tip. Now, those in the white blister are at the higher risk. For you guys that understand our hybrid catalog, I would imagine your L2 hybrids would be at the higher risk. The further along you are, the better shape you would be. If there's a compaction layer under that field that caused it to roll hard right through the weekend, it's probably going to blow that tip off if you're in white blister. So if you haven't been to the field since last week, you probably want to revisit it again and see if you need to adjust your yield estimates. On the bean front, seeing some SDS showing up in different fields. Ponded areas are still struggling, as many of them are now, of course, locked up with root diseases. In these ponded areas, these infected areas, these 30-inch rows are not going to close. So we got to keep an eye on the water hemp because it's going to blow up in some of those if we can't get those rows closed. 10-day forecast looks good. Moderate nighttime temperatures. Got some moisture in the forecast. I like all that, but stay on top of the disease pressure. It's time to get a realistic look at what we think our yield expectations are. As we drive down the road, it's a lot more deceiving from the road compared to the air. So I would say pest teams, this is a good time, if you don't have them already, to get some aerial imagery. Either they be drone, plane, satellite, I don't care. but get a shot from the air, and then you can get a handle on how many acres are damaged. Once we know where the damaged acres are, then we need to make a ground visit to it. Even if it's half-mile out, we need to get out there and visit that. One, to look at weed pressure. Some of these holes are just loaded up with water hemp. You don't want that kind of seed bank. But the other part is to actually get in this damaged corn and assess what we think the actual yield is. Is it a 0 or is it a 50% of yield? Come up with some type of prediction. And then get the acres calculated on your map to get a realistic number. And again, if you get the maps and bring them in here, we can, Miles and the guys can work with them and tell you how many acres based on your observation is 0 versus 50% damage, let's say. We can come up with a calculated yield goal for that field. And now's the time to prepare your landlords, your farm managers, your accountants, what lies ahead, right? So a situation where we don't get anybody shocked because they drove by a field that was perfect from the road but didn't realize 20% of it, and a lot of these fields, it's in that 15 to 30% water damage. And you just got to get out in the damaged area and be realistic of what you think that yield is and how many acres is damaged, so we can eliminate those surprises. We've got about 40, depending on the field you're in, 40 to 60 days left to finish this crop. Let's not drop the ball now. Don't walk away from it. Stay strong to the finish. To stay up to date, check out our website at croptechinc.com and subscribe to our podcast, Boots in the Field Report. Keep her safe, keep her moving.